What's going on, everyone? Fraudulent1 here. So we got a chapter of Chainsaw Man that honestly changed so many things in the story, and it really does set the tone of what the story is going to be like moving forward from here on out. And I really do think we've finally gotten past the slice of life part of Chainsaw Man Part 2 to it being a full-blown dark fantasy manga like we saw in Part 1. But without wasting any more time, let's get on to the video. The chapter starts where it last ended with Yoshida facing off against Asa, who became a wanted criminal since the Chainsaw Man Church was exposed for their crimes of plotting against the Japanese government after Barum's failed No Russia plan failed. And Asa, who was smart enough to come up with a backup plan in case anyone ever tried to come after her in Yoru, planned on turning her apartment room into a weapon to defend herself and to have Yoru fight in her body when the weapon is made. But before she could finish doing this, Yoshida busts through the door of her apartment and cuts Asa's arm off faster than she could even react before she could even make the weapon, with Yoshida apologizing to Asa for attacking her even though she had followed her advice to stay away from Denji. So yeah, this actually does confirm that neither Denji or Asa this entire time after the Falling Devil arc have actually interacted with each other, which is actually pretty strange given that they both go to the same high school, and Denji would seemingly have a lot of questions to ask given that the girl who had begged to save them during the Falling Devil arc became a devil hunter in no time. In any case, it looks like Yoshida is actually going to finish Asa off despite his orders from public safety to take Asa in, which shows that Yoshida may be acting on his own, which is what many of us have been predicting from the beginning of the story. Or he could be acting on the orders of the organization that he's a part of, given that Yoshida does admit to Denji at the beginning of Part 2 that he's a part of an organization outside of public safety that want to keep Denji safe, and it still actually hasn't been revealed to us yet. But before we can see the conclusion of their fight, we cut over to Barum, who's standing in front of Nayuta, Fumiko, and Denji, and giving a giant lore drop of information exposing us to the real purpose of the Chainsaw Man Church. And Barum reveals that the Justice Devil, which was revealed to be the giant worm that tried to eat Asa and Denji in the Falling Devil arc, was a devil that could grant the power to transform into the form that they desired the most. And this is what they told their followers before they made a contract with their devil, which that part of it was true, except the name of the devil that the followers of the Chainsaw Man Church contracted with wasn't the Justice Devil, but another one of Fami's pawns, confirming to us that the Famino was the one behind this entire plan, scheming in the shadows all along, and through the Chainsaw Man Church convincing citizens around the world to contract with a primal devil known as the Fire Devil. And in the next panels, we see groups, if not thousands of people, begin to turn into Chainsaw Man, with chainsaws bursting out of their heads, and it appears that this is happening simultaneously all at the same time all across the world. And then we see that even the kids who are a part of the Chainsaw Man Church have turned into Chainsaw Man, with Katana Man screaming out Chainsaw Man before he begins to fight all of them. And this is a really nice touch since we see that Katana Man hasn't forgotten what Denji and Agi did for him. And we get to see this how deep-seated his hatred of Chainsaw Man has really become. And in the next panel, in a apocalyptic event, because we see people have turned into Chainsaw Man and are slaughtering and even eating regular humans. And we get to reveal by Barum that the Fire Devil's power is that the more contractors the Fire Devil has, the more potent the Fire Devil's contract powers will actually be. Although a caveat of the Fire Devil's contract and the power that it grants is most of the people that are contracted with the Fire Devil will eventually lose the ability to control themselves and lose their humanity. So it appears that this contract is very similar to the zombie devils from Part 1, where by making a contract with him, he grants you semi-immortality and significant power, but at the cost of losing yourself and becoming a monster. And we know that what Barum said here isn't entirely true, since Yuko, who we now know made a contract with the Fire Devil, and Fake Saw Man were able to retain their humanity and not become monsters. So hopefully we get an explanation behind why this is soon. But if I had to guess, maybe the Fire Devil and possibly even the Famine Devil have some type of control of how sane they can make their contractors when they make a contract with the Fire Devil. And a possible explanation of why the previous contractors of the Fire Devil didn't go insane is maybe because they were possibly experiments to see if Fami's plan of turning people into Chainsaw Man at a large scale would actually work. And then we get this really disturbing image of Barum standing behind the people who were at the amusement park, some of who of them were just kids who have now also turned into Chainsaw Man and have killed the devil hunters who have already arrested him previously. And for real questions, why now at this time that this event is happening? And Barum reveals that at 5 o'clock exact, mass weddings which were held at the Chainsaw Man church chapters in China and Canada, the devil contract and as opposed to their sleeper agents, were set to go off when a mass number of the Chainsaw Man church enter into mass marriages. But the marriage vows themselves were contracts with the Fire Devil. And because of this, Barum estimates that over 350,000 people worldwide are no longer human but devils who are contracted with the Fire Devil and can seemingly be controlled by Barum and the Famine Devil, given that they are being hostile towards him and they did free him from his captivity. I want to mention is that by making a contract with a devil, especially a primal devil such as the Fire Devil, which I would imagine would be a primal devil, after all, fire is an instinctive fear that all living things generally have, it supercharges the terms and the power of the devil contract, and I suppose it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. I mean, after all, small flame isn't nothing to worry about, but a larger a fire gets, and the larger it spreads, the more volatile it becomes. And I suppose we really are seeing the result of this in this chapter. And as Barum is having his moment of glory, we see a large building explode in the background, shocking Fumiko and Denji. And we get the major reveal from Barum that only half a year, the Great King of Terror from the Nostradamus prophecy, which was mentioned at the very beginning of part 2 of Chainsaw Man's story, will descend upon the world, destroying it. And that he isn't a bad guy. Despite having one of the most insane plans I've ever seen in manga, he and Famine aim to save the human race by killing this threat. So yeah, this seemingly does confirm that the Famine Devil was telling the truth to Nyuta about her intentions of saving humanity, which is something I honestly didn't expect given the amount of lies and deception that most of Chainsaw Man's antagonists are usually known for. And this does put the Famine Devil into more of a gray area, or I suppose a chaotic good or anti-hero type of role. Cause although what they're doing now will kill thousands of people, it's likely nowhere near as bad as what the King of Terror will do to the world. And while Denji isn't believing any of this, calling it a load of crap, Nyuta rebukes him and takes off her mask of having this kitty facade, and her entire demeanor changes. And she finally reveals to Denji that she knew all along that the King of Terror was going to come to the world. And the prophecy of Nostradamus isn't just a myth, it's actually real. And that the Famine Devil is actually her sister, her fellow four horsemen of the apocalypse. And the reason that Nyuta knows this is because the King of Terror that will descend on the world is the Famine Devil, the War Devil, and the Control Devil's older sister, the super duper strongest devil with the name feared most of all, the Death Devil. So yeah, the Death Devil is the main antagonist of the story, and I suppose it makes sense given out of all the 4 horsemen, Death is the only one that hasn't appeared in the story, and was the devil that most people theorized would be the strongest devil in the series. I mean, this does make sense, since death does add a whole new meaning to life, but it also keeps people in line. It makes people take few risks, and it also has them follow the rules of society because of the fear of dying. Then it's revealed that the entire point of the Chainsaw Man Church and Fami's grand plan wasn't to play Chainsaw Man, but to make the Chainsaw Man and the War Devil the most terrifying devils on earth, to get them both super duper strong to face off against the Death Devil. And that's how the chapter ends. And yeah, this was a really good chapter, but a couple things that I really am thinking of is that this plan that the Famine Devil has, while brilliant, well, it has one big freaking hole in it. By causing mass destruction around the world, wouldn't it just make the Death Devil even stronger than she already is now? I mean, that seems to be really defeating the purpose behind what the Famine Devil is trying to do, and it makes me think that while she may be true to her intentions, there may be some ulterior motives behind what she's doing. After all, Vegeta in his armored form fought against all 4 horsemen and the weapons devil before he came to Earth, with the fight ending with a Pochita W eating World War I, the nuclear weapons devil, and eating a nice piece of Yoru, and Makima, who would likely sense that the Death Devil was coming too as well, which gives and adds a lot more context into why she did the horrible things that she did in part 1, was confident that Chainsaw Man could defeat and eat the other 4 horsemen, erasing them from existence all on his own. And if the Famine Devil's intentions really are to save the world, why would Yoshida try so hard to thwart and intervene in the Famine Devil's plans? Like, why was Yoshida trying so hard to keep Denji away from Asa and is currently trying to kill her if he knows for a fact that the War Devil is a part of humanity's best chance at survival? I feel like Yoshida knows or has the last missing pieces to the puzzle that hasn't been revealed to us just yet, and he might realize the truth behind the Famine Devil's intentions. I mean, after all, while I do think the Famine Devil is somewhat honest in what she's saying and what she's doing, Yoru said it herself that her sister was crazy, and when it came to achieving her goals, well, it doesn't matter if she has to hurt her own sister or even kill most of humanity to achieve it. Well, I mean, she'll just go on ahead and she'll just do it. But my question to you guys in the comment section is, will Denji once again break his contract and die to save the world to bring the real Chainsaw Man out? And what event do you think will take place that will cause the Death Devil to become so strong it will take the combined efforts of Yoru and Chainsaw Man to defeat her? Let me know in the comment section down below. This was the Fraudulent One, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.